A government has been called to adequately address the so-called construction mafia. This as groups invade building sites across the country and demand money or a stake in development. And for more on this, we're joined now by Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Sihle Zikalala. Minister, good evening, and thank you very much for coming on tonight, PM, on In Focus. Except for issuing a warning to the construction mafia, what is being done on the ground to tackle this construction mafia scourge? Tell you what, because we hear, for example, of an official who said, well, look, we are prepared to work with the construction mafia. We are prepared to pay them just to make sure that the work continues and service delivery continues to be rendered to the people. Is that the position that you would promote and support?
Thanks, and thanks for having us in your program. No, that will not be our position as government. As government, we are steadfast in ensuring that we unleash infrastructure development throughout the country, and that should be implemented within the prescribed prescript. In this regard, if the project is worth more than 30 million, there should be localization where SMMEs involved in construction sector will be allocated at least 30%. But that should be done through proper processes. And that process entails getting the database of companies that are within that district or that metro, ensure that those companies are invited through proper process to participate, tender, and ensure that they get allocated work. People who comes extort, demand money, promise that they will secure companies that are constructing, they're not doing what we are doing as government. And what they are doing is criminal. And that's why we've got more than 682 cases that are currently being investigated. And that's why we've got 702 people who have been arrested and are currently being prosecuted for this.
Yeah. How do you ensure that this is not a process that is controlled, for example, by so-called business forums? Because it's the business forums who are saying, well, we want to ensure that there's localization in this project. And so they give themselves almost this license because of that transformation imperative to go around to every single project and say, well, we demand this, we demand that, we demand that. How do we ensure that that process is not controlled at that level, but yes, there is broad engagement from beginning to ensure that it is properly managed, but it's a process that is, I suppose, government managed?
If the project is implemented in any locality, there should be briefings, committees that preside on the implementation of the project. And with regard to the allocation of this 30%, all of the companies that are there, SMMEs who are part of the construction sector, should be allowed to tender in the main contractor. And the main contractor must identify those based on their capacity and the work that needs to be done. It is wrong for a particular association or forum to go around trying to get work for other people. We cannot allow to have people who will benefit without working. And this 30% is not for security, it's not for those who want to negotiate for others, but it is for SMMEs who must be given space to work and emerge and eventually become sustainable companies.
So is there a structure that is able to tackle this, and is that structure implementing what it says should be implemented?
In provinces, we've got various departments that run infrastructure projects. Within those departments, there are stakeholder engagements that engages with broader stakeholders. Within the Department of Public Works, especially the Infrastructure South Africa, we are now established a unit that will deal with facilitation so that all of the deserving companies that are well registered and prepared to do work will be assisted. We've got CIDP, we've got CBE, we've got Agrima SA. All of these are entities in the built industry that are meant to assist those small companies that are in the construction sector.
And there is, of course, a sense that over and above what you're citing as a need for localization and the 30% to a subcontractor, there is criminality and there needs to be a stronger role that the SAPS is playing, for example, in arresting the mafia bosses. So what is, I suppose, inhibiting the police from doing that?
Well, firstly, we applaud that they are arrested. As I'm saying, 702 people arrested, 686 or so cases being investigated. That shows that there is work being done. But we need to beef up that capacity. We need to ensure that there is a dedicated unit that deal with these cases, crack these cases, ensure also that we work with communities so that we are proactive and prevent these mafias from extortion, from disruption of construction sites. So we are working, and I believe police, as per the instruction of the president, are working to ensure that the units that deal with these mafias is capacitated and well-resourced.
So, for example, what do they miss? I think it's the Menzi High School. I'm sure you would know about that project. It was supposed to have started in 2019. Up until now, it still hasn't been finished. He's talking, for example, of engaging with the mafias, but not only that, saying at some point, if those negotiations do not work, he's looking at engaging the community around the Menzi High School. Now, I spoke to the Minister of Kokta just now, and she also mentions this thing of construction mafias, saying part of it has got to do with bringing in the community to assist us, because these things are happening within communities. What role do you believe communities can play here?
Communities can play a major role, because this is service delivery that goes to them. It is meant to believe people. It is meant to develop people and their localities. It is on that vein that we have taken a view that we must, if we implement the project, engage communities to be part of all processes, to be briefed, educated about what will happen, and be transparent in everything, and ensure that communities plays a role in terms of reporting if there are those who are planning to disrupt, but also just coordinate and ensure that all stakeholders are working together. It's unfortunate that such projects are delayed for more than 2-3 years, because that is meant to help kids in that community so that they get education and improve themselves. So we are working with speed on this matter.
Yeah. And would you say that strategy, Minister, is fighting the construction mafia, or is adapting to the demands of the construction mafia and incorporating it?
We are working to ensure that the strategy fights the construction mafia. We are not going to yield and bend rules in favor of people who are behaving in a criminal way. We are going to be firm, but we would want to see local companies empowered and supported. And we will do that not through people who would want to speak on behalf of others, but through direct engagement with construction companies that are there, empower them to get these opportunities.
Yeah. But don't you think, though, there is a problem here that lies in the sense that the conflict is arising from the fact that people choose to interpret the preferential procurement laws the way that they want to pursue them. So you could have one group agreeing and then have another also feeling, oh, well, we are being left out here, and they also start their own forum, another group. And then you are having this thing spread out and somewhat becoming out of control. Is there
I don't believe that it is.
Yeah.
I don't believe that it is the interpretation of the regulations. Regulations are clear, but this is a trend of criminality where people have just taken a law into their hands and want to extort money. It is proven because in some cases, these people will be allocated work. I know that in one school, they were allocated work to paint. And they said, no, we are not interested in that. Buy us out. And how do you buy people out who have not done anything? So that's why we are saying these are criminals and they need to be dealt with in such a way.
And how do we, in dealing with them, ensure that it's not the same people that continue to benefit? Because also, it seems, yes, they are interpreting what is in Treasury. So 30% of public procurement contracts should be contracted to designated groups and provided for in the preferential procurement regulations. But it's the same group of people that seem to benefit from this project. It doesn't seem to be spreading wider into disadvantaged communities so that all individuals benefit.
And that's why we're saying let us work through the database of those local districts and ensure that if in a particular project 2 or 3 companies benefited, that should be noted and recorded. And in a process, there should be a fair rotation in ensuring that companies are benefiting. But currently, there is no such prescription, and in that regard, we agree that there should be a review that assists in ensuring that opportunities are spread and economy is inclusive so that all people are benefiting.
With the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Minister Sihle Zikalala, and we'll take your thoughts as well to the conversation, 072-110-5584. The Minister staying on with us, and we'll continue in a moment.